Well, I do need to turn on my microphone to be able to, for people to be able to hear me. Mikislop? Mikislop? What's going on? I have trouble pronouncing your name. Going to do some wrecking of Unnatural Vegan today. Mike Hislop. Okay. Now I've got it. Unnatural Vegan is so goddamn stupid, it's insane. I'm actually convinced she's a full-fledged retard. Like, she's actually mentally disabled. Not that that will give her any sympathy from me. Mike Hiss Slop. Just gotta wait for a few more people to pop in before we start. She is so gross looking. It's like looking at a pig in makeup. Like, why even bother? You know? Ugh. It's awful. What do you think her IQ is? I think she's very close to borderline retarded. Very close. Virtually no critical thinking skills, no ability to understand nuance, extraordinarily emotionally driven. She doesn't actually care about logical consistency. She cares more about how she feels in the moment. Very, very stupid person. My wrist is really fucked up. I think it's from bench pressing, but I've also noticed when I'm typing, it irritates it. When I bench, I have noticed that my left wrist, like, just pulls back a bit more. Like, my right wrist I can usually keep fairly straight, but my left one, it usually bends back more. And I think that's what's making my wrist here inflamed. My mic is really low. Okay, maybe it got moved a bit. Is that better? I can also bring the mic a little closer to my face. I think I'm pretty sure the stream records audio differently than if I record it to my desktop. I'm not sure. Do you think she looks worse than KLL? Yeah. Fuck yeah. God. I don't think KLL is good looking. She's gotten a ton of plastic surgeries that actually fucked up her looks. She actually looks worse than before, but even before then, like, the only reason guys think she's attractive at all is because she wears makeup. If it wasn't for makeup, she'd look incredibly plain looking. She just doesn't have any attractive features. So she has to use makeup to make herself look more attractive, and that's really the only reason people think, oh, Kal-El's hot, I'd fuck her. Like, no, you wouldn't. Not if she wasn't wearing makeup. Unnatural vegan, though, I mean, it's like putting a makeup on a pig. There's just no point. Like, at least Kal-El, she has something to work with there where you can enhance certain features to actually look presentable. Unnatural vegan, it's like, what are you even fucking doing? Did you see Jeff Nippard's response to you? No, but a lot of people have told me basically what he ended up saying. So, like, the long and short of it is, he was saying, oh, there isn't really enough evidence to determine whether or not this is true, which is horseshit. So he's basically just saying, like, arguing from ignorance. And he just dismissed claims I made, like the claim I made about the study participants having high cholesterol going into the study. He just said, oh, well, they had normal cholesterol, so that's not true. It's like I addressed this in my fucking video. Normal cholesterol is above the healthy normal physiological range. Just because most people have a cholesterol in that range, that doesn't mean it's the healthy normal physiological range. It was nothing of substance. They literally said the studies use people with normal ranges of cholesterol, which are too high already. Yeah, exactly. And I fucking mentioned that in my original video. How's training going, Richard? 500-pound bench press, I hope. Not quite at 500. I did have to change up my routine because I ended up stagnating. So now I'm on a hypertrophy routine where I'm pressing 3 days a week as opposed to 4. And I've been enjoying it so far. It's the first week, basically, that's gone by. But I feel like it's being productive. The problem is I have inflammation in my wrist right now. And, okay, let me bring up my microphone volume. So I'm hoping the inflammation in my wrist doesn't impact my training all that much. Let's see. Filters. Add gain. I think a 3 decibel gain would be adequate. Is that okay now? Okay, it's in the yellow anyway, and that's about right. That should be enough. Now I might want to increase desktop audio as well to be balanced with my mic audio. But I think I might be able to hit a 405 bench press by the end of the year. That'd be fucking sick. Okay, looks like there's enough people watching. So for those of you who don't know what's been going on, Unnatural Vegan is a retard. But aside from that, she made a video response to Kal-El's video, I'm Not Actually Vegan. Kal-El admitted to eating non-vegan candy bars, eating non-vegan movie theater popcorn, and even buying leather shoes. And Unnatural Vegan said, oh, that's all vegan, actually. You can eat candy bars, movie theater popcorn, and even buy leather shoes, and that's still vegan. Absolutely insane retardation. I responded to it. The first video got taken down, but I did make a second response. And now we're here. She's going to respond, I believe, to my first response video. And one of the biggest points here, which is the whole point of this video, really, is the vegan gains fallacy. So she meant Unnatural Vegan in her first video, responding to Kal-El. She singled out palm oil as like this non-vegan plant, Now, for those of you who don't know, palm oil is being harvested in the rainforest, and there's this big controversy that it's affecting the natural native wildlife there, particularly the orangutans. Now, the thing is, this happens with every single plant. When you farm a plant, you are in competition with the natural native wildlife there. So you're going to end up killing and displacing natural native wildlife wherever you farm. In the rainforest, where you're growing palm oil, it's going to be things like orangutans. In the North America, it's going to be things like deer, coyote, foxes, rabbits, groundhogs, you name it. It doesn't matter where it is. If you farm, you're in competition with the natural native wildlife. So why she's singling out palm oil as a non-vegan plant is absolutely retarded. And this video is dedicated to her reaffirming this idiotic fucking idea that palm oil isn't vegan. And therefore, I have no right to criticize Kal-El. So this is going to get insanely retarded. That Miss Nerdy woman left a detailed comment on your carnivore diet vid trying to debunk you with timestamps. Did she now? Okay, well, maybe if we have time later, we'll take a look at that, because she's mentally retarded.
Hey guys. So, many of you probably know and maybe have seen, it's pretty long, have seen Vegan Gain's response to Kal-El's video that I responded to, and also my response.
I'm just gonna run this at 1.5 times speed.
To Kal-El's video on veganism and kind of...
Maybe just 1.25 in case you people are having trouble.
Purity vegans and the definition of vegan. That's mostly what I talked about in my video. So I'm skipping over a huge chunk of the video, basically the first like almost 20 minutes, 17 minutes or so, because it's mostly just ad hom and all.
Okay, so this is the first thing. This retard doesn't understand the difference between an ad hominem attack, which is a logical fallacy, and personal insults. Now, an ad hominem attack is an attack against someone's character in place of an actual argument. Now, an insult is just an insult, which is what I was doing. So you're too stupid to even understand the fucking logical fallacies you're mentioning. And me calling you stupid isn't an ad hominem attack. That is a statement of fucking fact. You are a fucking moron who is too stupid to understand the fucking logical fallacies you're trying to point out.
Also just misunderstanding my video and Kal-El's video to a large degree.
Misunderstanding? No, there was no misunderstanding. You're just an idiot.
When it comes to the definition of vegan...
Misunderstanding? No, again. You said that it's vegan to eat candy bars, buy movie theater popcorn, and even buy leather shoes. There's no misunderstanding there. You're a fucking moron.
If you've seen my video, I'm pretty explicitly like criticizing this rigid definition of veganism.
Oh my god. She admitted, like, on camera that she thinks buying leather shoes is vegan.
But the thing is, even if you don't do those things, let's say you don't drive a car, let's say you don't take any sort of medication or anything, you still aren't vegan. None of us can truly be vegan.
Okay, so you're too fucking stupid to actually understand the definition of veganism. Reducing unnecessary suffering, death, and exploitation as much as reasonably possible. Nobody can do that?
But the thing is, even if you don't do those things, let's say you don't drive a car, let's say you don't take any sort of medication or anything, you still aren't vegan. None of us can truly be vegan. Because essentially, if you boil down all the points that Kal-El makes, her definition, if you boil it down into just a one-sentence definition, in order to be vegan, you cannot use any animal or harm any animal, period. And so I think you see where I'm going with this. No one is actually vegan when going by this definition. You can't possibly be. The only way you could be, I mean, you'd have to be dead. There's no way you can live.
Okay, so I'm going to skip ahead here. Basically, what Unnatural Vegan is trying to claim here is that I took her out of context intentionally to misinterpret what she said. No, I didn't. Again, if you actually watched my entire video, you'd see that eventually I get to the point where Unnatural Vegan is claiming that it's vegan to eat non-vegan candy bars, buy movie theater popcorn that contains animal products, and even buy leather shoes. Now, taken in that context, I decided to leave out this extra bullshit she was talking about, because in context, with the entire video and everything she said, it made sense to leave this out. It was just unnecessary. So, Unnatural Vegan was basically trying to make an appeal to futility fallacy here, saying, oh, well, it's impossible to be 100% vegan, so it's okay to have leather shoes sometimes or buy candy bars sometimes. That was the overall message of her video. That's why I left that out. Now, Unnatural Vegan is taking me out of context to try to convince everyone that I'm taking her out of context. It's absolutely retarded. So I'm just gonna skip ahead until she's actually done here. God. Fucking bullshit. Is Kal-El her actual name, or is she obsessed with Superman and or Kale? She lied about her name, so she's claimed that Kal-El Cullen is her name, like her legal name, but it turns out her name is Kristen Smith. She just came up with that fake name because she thought it sounds cool. Yeah, that's the whole story.
I guess, I don't know if he didn't watch the video well enough, or, you know, it seems like...
No, I did watch the video well enough. You're just a fucking moron taking me out of context in an attempt to take me... Or sorry, you're a fucking moron. This is getting confusing. Okay, you're deliberately taking me out of context and taking your own video out of context. Because my video was about your video, in an attempt to make it look like I'm deliberately taking you out of context. Fuck me.
It's like he's just watching these videos and responding to them, which probably isn't the best way to do things.
No, I actually watched your entire video, then did a response to it, you fucking moron. That's why I strategically left out portions of your video for the interest of time.
Obviously, it's fine when it's like, I don't know, you're reacting to like a movie trailer or something, but when you're actually trying to, I don't know, think critically and...
Yeah, actually trying to think critically. You accused me of making ad hominem fallacies when you don't even understand what a fucking ad hominem is. And you're telling me about critical thinking. Okay.
Respond appropriately. It's probably not the best thing to just respond as you're watching, especially if you don't like the person, which I get the feeling Richard is not my biggest fan.
Unnatural Vegan is a fucking retarded inbred piece of trash.
So yeah, I was pretty clearly expressing my disdain for this sort of way of describing veganism. This, you know, anyone who takes medicine isn't vegan, right?
Kal-El was coming up with this retarded definition of veganism to strawman the vegan community. And make it look like veganism is just too difficult. So she was trying to create an appeal to futility fallacy. So she was coming up with two fallacies, a straw man and an appeal to futility. So you're defending her. That was your video. You ended up defending her. And that's why I left out that portion of, like, you explaining what the actual definition of veganism is. Because it doesn't make any sense in context. You ended up siding with her saying, oh yeah, it's impossible to be fully vegan, so it's okay to buy leather shoes occasionally. Why the fuck would I leave that portion in of you talking about the real definition of vegan when you end up siding with her? It's just a waste of fucking time. It would have taken, like, an extra 10 minutes. It's stupid. The video is already about an hour long. Fucking retard.
And to be fair, Kal-El did clarify in a comment on my video that she does not like that either. That, quote, her video was preaching the contrary, that we need to ditch the rigid definition if we want to propel the movement forward into the mainstream.
Okay, so basically we have to change the definition of the word vegan to match Kal-El's lifestyle choices. That's what she's saying. Does that make any fucking sense to you? So we have to have a tolerable range for cruelty so that Kal-El can still call herself vegan. Does that sound like it's trying to promote animal welfare or animal abolitionism? Or does that sound like Kal-El is trying to make up excuses for herself? Funny how she wants to change the definition of vegan when it suits her, not when it actually suits activism. And during this entire time, neither Unnatural Vegan nor Kal-El has explained the reasoning behind this. How would changing the definition of vegan to allow for a tolerable range of unnecessary cruelty accelerate the animal rights movement? It wouldn't. How would allowing an acceptable, tolerable range for pedophilia help to eliminate pedophilia and child rape? It wouldn't. It's just a nonsense fucking argument. It makes no intuitive sense, makes no logical sense, and they have no evidence that this would help the animal rights movement whatsoever. And I think Unnatural Vegan hearted this comment, like, fucking retarded. Like, Aisel Mazard made a video response to this as well. It's like, are you trying to fuck Kal-El? Like, are you trying to fuck her? Why are you fucking siding with this retarded bitch who's making no fucking sense? It's just insane. Thoughts on the neck hammock? I haven't heard of the neck hammock. Neck hammock. Okay, that's rather odd. I don't know what that's for or what it does. I have no thoughts. Wait, I'm new to your channel in this YouTube vegan community. We have alleged vegans changing the definition of veganism. Counterproductive much. Yeah, we have non-vegans trying to change the definition of vegan so that they can be considered vegan now. That's what Kal-El's doing. Insane. If we had a reducitarian mindset throughout history, we would still have allowed slaves. If something is wrong, it's wrong regardless of how much or little you do it. Absolutely correct. That's the fundamental problem with this reducitarianism bullshit. I think Unnatural Vegan is just being dishonest. I think she just wants to gain some of Kal-El's "I'm vegan most of the time, but I'll eat milk chocolate once in a while" audience. I think that is what's going on. Unnatural Vegan doesn't like to create conflicts with people, so I think she's just agreeing with somebody who has a huge following, and she's hoping to get more followers off of this retard. I think that's what's going on.
And if we want to propel the movement forward into the mainstream. So for this video, what I want to talk about is something that I have criticized Vegan Gains for in the past. It's his arbitrary distinction between animal products and non-animal products that
no, it's not an arbitrary distinction. And I explained why it's not an arbitrary distinction. What she's committing here is a guilt by economic association fallacy. So she's saying that if somewhere along the line, somewhere along the production of a product, cruelty occurs, that means it's not vegan. So palm oil, for instance, well, I already addressed this problem at the beginning of the video. Palm oil isn't unique in the agriculture industry. If we were to switch out palm oil with any other crop, if you were to switch out palm oil with date palms, guess what? It would still harm orangutans. If you were to switch out palm oil with corn, guess what? It would still harm orangutans. This happens all across the world. It's just that orangutans aren't native to, like, they aren't part of the natural native wildlife in North America. So instead of harming orangutans, you end up harming deer, foxes, coyotes, rabbits, groundhogs. You fucking name it. So the distinction here is that you aren't intentionally causing cruelty and directly supporting it. Paying your taxes goes towards military spending, and especially if you live in the United States, I'm sure you're well aware that the US goes to war with no justifiable reason and ends up killing thousands of innocent civilians. So by paying your taxes, you are indirectly supporting war crimes, mass murder. Now, was your intent to cause mass murder? No. That doesn't make it, that doesn't make you an accessory to murder when you pay your taxes. Now, when you actually pay for a hitman to kill people, you are directly supporting murder. And what Swayze is trying to do here is she's trying to remove that distinction between paying your taxes and paying a hitman. She's trying to say those two things are one and the fucking same. If you pay for palm oil, it's no different than buying meat or leather or milk or fucking eggs. Really. So, just clearing out some space in a forest and harvesting these palm oil plants, that's the same as raping a cow, taking away its children, putting those children in the veal industry where they'll be tortured and murdered, and then forcing that cow to continually become pregnant so that she can produce milk, and then once she's done producing milk, you'll murder her and just continue along that fucking process indefinitely until vegans stand up against it and eventually get the industry taken away. You think this is the same as this. No distinction whatsoever, Swayze. You are an actual fucking retard.
Also cause harm. So in this case, palm oil. So he finally defends it. He finally defends this distinction that he draws, and that many vegans draw, to be fair. And he does it by essentially calling any criticism of it fallacious. Specifically,
yeah, it is fallacious. For one thing, you're arbitrarily selecting palm oil. So that right there just completely makes your argument mute. If you eat lentils, if you eat rice, if you eat corn, if you eat broccoli, none of this occurs in nature. These are products that are of human invention. They've been selectively bred to be the way they are. They're grown in areas where you've had to clear out land and farm it. You are competing with natural native wildlife in that area, and it's no different than harvesting palm oil. So, according to your definition, like your distinction of ethics here, there's no such thing as a vegan food. If you eat broccoli, you are just as guilty as of supporting animal suffering and death as when you buy cow's milk. So, just selecting palm oil, like arbitrarily selecting palm oil as this one plant that supports cruelty, it's fucking retarded. There's no difference between palm oil production and the production of any other fucking crop. And secondly, I've already mentioned this, this is a guilt by economic association fallacy. If you're going to claim that because there is suffering and death that goes along with the production of a product indirectly, that means you are guilty. Okay, so you pay your taxes, you're guilty for fucking murdering human beings. Like, again, how do you not see an ethical distinction here? There's a difference in intent. When I buy palm oil, I'm not intending to directly fund the suffering and death of animals. When I buy milk, I would be doing that. I would be intending to cause the suffering and death of animals. Again, why do you not see an ethical distinction between clearing out some area of land, and let's just make this easier for you because I know this retard, like has a problem with like understanding these things. Let's just make it very visual. Cornfield. You have to get deer, foxes, coyotes, groundhogs, rabbits. You have to get animals out of here so that you can grow corn. So do you see a distinction in ethics between this and this? You're saying this is the same thing as this. If I buy an ear of corn, this is the same thing. If I buy a tub of palm oil, this is the same thing as this? There's no ethical distinction here. This is retarded.
he calls it the guilt by economic association fallacy. And also, the label of vegan can be really limiting. A good example would be palm oil, which Kal-El actually brings up.
Her defense was that taxes are obligatory, I think. That's just completely defeated. She's just running around the fucking argument I'm making. Okay, let's say you lived in Greece, where you don't have to pay taxes by law. What's your argument then? Again, this is just stupid. I think Unnatural Vegan's being dishonest and wants to gain Kal-El's following. Yeah, I think that is the case. Is eating raw vegetables like kale, broccoli, carrots, etc. better than eating it cooked? No, it's not. A lot of the nutrients become more bioavailable once you cook it. I think there was a study recently published that shows there's a bigger health benefit to cooked vegetables than raw, but you should still eat some raw fruits and vegetables, for sure. It's good to have a mix.
Briefly.
And yeah, it has like...
I don't know why she made the volume so low here. I guess she's too stupid to fucking mix volume in whatever video editor she's using.
a half teaspoon of milk in it. Actually, side note, I'm more concerned about the palm oil.
There was very similar to an appeal to futility, but it's slightly different. It's what I'd call a guilt by economic association fallacy. And the idea behind this fallacy is that if you make an economic transaction and somewhere along that transaction, so say somewhere along the development of a product or the supply chain of a product.
Okay, I'm just going to skip through here because you all already know the argument behind this. If Kal-El's going to say, well, there's more harm going on in palm oil production than in the dairy industry, well, that's just factually false. Again, you don't see a distinction here between this and this. Really, no distinction whatsoever. Raping an animal, taking away its baby, torturing and murdering that baby, forcing the animal to produce milk by continually raping it, taking away its children, and then eventually when it can't do it anymore, murdering it. That's exactly the same as clearing out a section of land so that you can grow a crop, which happens all across the world. It happens with every single plant. There's no difference between palm oil production and corn production. Literally no difference. You're competing with the natural native wildlife. So there's no distinction between corn production and milk production. There's no distinction between, I don't know, soybean production and milk production. No distinction whatsoever. Again, stupid fucking argument. Why is it so fucking hard to fucking understand this?
You don't intend to murder orangutans, and it's not an intent.
I'm just gonna skip ahead because, yeah, there.
Pay for taxes.
So guilt by economic association fallacy is not, it's not a fallacy. There
Yeah, I know it's not a recognized fallacy, you fucking retard. I'm just making up the term so it's easier for people to identify and understand.
is a guilt by association fallacy, but this has to do with inductive correlations, not causation. So like someone says to you, oh, well, you're friends with this bad person, so you're bad too, right? Obviously that's not necessarily true, which makes it a fallacy. But this is not
your work
at all what's going on when someone, for instance, buys palm oil.
Yeah, that's exactly what's going on. Again, the practical issues with this argument completely destroys it right off the bat. This happens in production of every single crop. Every single plant you grow will compete with the natural native wildlife. If you're not producing palm oil in South America and you're producing corn in North America, you are ensuring that you're wiping out deer, coyotes, rabbits, groundhogs from that area so that you can produce corn. Now, the thing is, with veganism, you can massively, massively reduce land use for these sorts of things to feed the population. Instead of feeding cow corn and soybeans, we can just eat that ourselves, like reduce fucking land use by something like 70%, and then we won't be causing as much harm. That's the ecological argument for veganism. Claiming that just farming in and of itself is immoral and there's no distinction between growing palm oil trees, corn, and literally raping and murdering animals. It's absolutely insane. You don't even understand what the fuck you're saying.
When your economic transaction is causing something, as it does in economics, then it's not just an association anymore.
No, it is an association. Again, there are ways of farming that won't cause this. You can produce palm trees without killing orangutans. You cannot produce milk without killing cows. So it is an indirect association. Now, again, if you're going to argue that killing off and displacing the natural native wildlife to grow crops isn't vegan, then by your definition, literally no plant is vegan. Palm oil, date palms, watermelons, broccoli, corn, soybeans, rice, lentils, you fucking name it. None of these plants are vegan according to you, and there's no distinction between eating any of those foods and killing cows. So why are you even vegan? If you're claiming that you make the sort of distinction or lack thereof, you make no distinction between eating soybeans and murdering cows. So why are you even vegan?
Buying palm oil directly supports the palm oil industry, which...
Yeah, and buying corn directly supports the corn industry, which kills and displaces natural native wildlife, just like in the palm oil industry.
has a negative impact on the environment, on other animals.
Really? You mean like every other fucking plant, you fucking retard? Oh my god. You know what? I don't wanna... Okay, I need to calm down. I was gonna make a joke about hitting her so hard that I could rearrange her jaw structure so that she doesn't have an underbite anymore. But I don't actually want to do that.
Animals. Of course, there are philosophical arguments against kind of defining morality in this way, where you're defining actions as good or bad based on consequences. There are ethical systems that ignore consequences and that focus on intention, but these pose some pretty obvious practical problems. If intent is all that makes something moral...
Okay, so now she's straw-manning me. Maybe that's a fucking logical fallacy you'd want to look into. When I claimed that when you're making this guilt by economic association fallacy, you're removing the importance of intent, I wasn't saying intent is the only thing that makes something moral or immoral. I was saying it's an aspect of morality. Intent matters. If I were to accidentally run over someone with a car, that might be the difference between me not going to prison, or at least getting like a minor sentence for maybe not driving responsibly, or if I were to run over somebody intentionally, well, that's murder. So, do you see how intent matters? It's recognized in our legal system that intent matters. So, by buying palm oil, you're not intending to murder animals. By buying corn, you're not intending to murder animals. The intention there is to reduce your impact. So yeah, it's a better option than supporting this. But you're trying to remove the aspect of intent and tell us that this is as bad as this. It's insane. And you're also ignoring the fact that, no, palm oil production has less of an environmental impact than production of any animal product. I just don't get it. Like, I always feel like I'm taking fucking crazy pills. Like, how many times do I have to fucking explain things? And then people are still doing this shit. Just...
Then pretty much every action in history has been moral. Pretty much every person in history has been moral. Both sides of every war.
Yeah, again, you're straw-manning me. I never said intent is the only aspect of morality. I never said, oh, well, it's okay to rape children because pedophiles aren't intending to hurt them. They just want to have a loving relationship with a child. That's not what I'm fucking saying. I'm saying intent is an aspect of morality that you're trying to remove from the equation so that you can equate this to this. So, nice straw man, retard.
Every tyrant, because most people believe that they are doing the right
Straw
thing.
man
And this
fallacy.
goes for everyone involved in the consumption of meat too, from consumers themselves
Straw
to
man,
farmers, all the way
straw
up to
man,
the
straw
CEO
man.
of Purdue. Isn't that a chicken company? The vast majority of these people just intend to consume/produce meat. They don't.
Again, more straw man fallacies. You're deliberately misinterpreting my argument so that you can make a better case against it.
Actually want to harm animals. So viewing their actions in this way, just looking at intent, it makes discussing morality at all pretty much meaningless. What is the point of criticizing
Swayze, what's the point of you being vegan if you see no distinction between growing plants for consumption and raping and murdering animals for consumption? If you see no distinction between those two actions, why are you even vegan? Well, you're not vegan, as we figured out. You're not.
any action? What is the point of trying to make the world a better place if the only thing that matters is intent, which you can't even prove? I mean, anyone, even a psychopath, can say that they're...
Yeah, again, she's just continuing along with this fucking straw man fallacy. Again, never said intent was the only aspect of morality.
Their intent is good. The only potentially valid argument that Richard makes in this video has to do with necessity.
And then murder them when they're of no use to you. That is an inevitable consequence of dairy production, and it's not a necessary consequence of palm oil production.
If item A is almost impossible to make without harming others, and item B is easily made without harming others, it can be preferable to choose item B over item.
Okay, again, clearing out a section of land and then cultivating plants on that land, it demonstrably causes less suffering and death than raising animals. Because for one, you're actually raping and murdering them, and two, you still need to grow plants to feed those animals. So you are inevitably causing more harm. So... I don't even understand what the fuck she's talking about. This is just insane. Look, in the same area of the world where palm trees are being grown, they're also wiping out sections of rainforest to make room for grass-feeding cattle. Well, guess what is less environmentally harmful? Guess what is a more efficient use of that land? The fucking palm oil. It causes less animal suffering. It's a more efficient use of that land. What is she even fucking arguing here? Like, this comes down, again, to an appeal to futility and a tu quo qui fallacy. She's trying to say, oh, well, it's impossible to be vegan, so it's okay to eat animal products sometimes, therefore Kal-El is still vegan. And she's also trying to create a tu quo qui fallacy, saying, oh, well, you can't talk bad about people who eat animal products because you eat palm oil. Well, no, it doesn't actually work that way. Do you have any evidence that palm oil production is more environmentally harmful and more cruel than dairy production? No, you don't. Raping and murdering cows, according to you, is the same as clearing out a portion of land to grow plants, which is no different than what we do in the corn industry. No distinction between this and this. Again, if that's what you believe, then why are you vegan? I'm convinced that you don't actually believe this. If you do, then you're an actual retard. I think you're just reaching for whatever criticism you can make against me so you can have some sort of reason to, like, get Kal-El's followers by, like, saying, oh yeah, Kal-El's still vegan. I'm totally in support of people buying leather because, you know, what are you gonna do? Everything you do isn't vegan.
Item A, even in cases where they cause the same amount of harm, because this sets...
Tu quo qui. It's a type of logical fallacy. It roughly translates to, you criticize me, but you do it too. That's basically what it means. It's like saying, oh, you shouldn't, it's accusing someone else of doing the same or similar crime to justify your own actions. It's like saying, if I were to tell you, oh, you shouldn't steal someone's wallet, and then you say, oh, well, you stole a book from the library, so who are you to judge? It's like the same sort of thing.
That's a precedent, and it establishes a habit that's easier to change to reduce harm. Basically, there's an easier path to improving the situation. So an example of this today would be buying an electric car. Even though your electric grid may be powered by coal and battery recycling is in its infancy, buying electric now makes it easier to run cars on non-polluting energy in the future, and it encourages recycling improvement.
This is the same person who criticized me for being environmentally harmful by buying an electric motorcycle, by the way.
But this isn't the argument that Richard is making. His notion of necessity is a fundamental one, imagining that animal cruelty is the point of producing animal products, while not the point of something like palm oil.
Again, she's just singling out palm oil without understanding, like, agriculture in general. Why are you singling out palm oil when it's no different than the production of any other crop? It makes no sense. That's the fundamental flaw with this palm oil argument. The reason I didn't bring this up in my response to Kal-El originally was because I thought the argument about palm oil had less to do with her argument as a whole. Kal-El was trying to make an endless series of appeal to futility fallacies, so I thought it would be more effective to just demonstrate how that line of reasoning is completely illogical and incoherent, so she wouldn't be able to make a similar argument in the future, rather than just dealing with palm oil specifically. That's why I didn't bother, and the video was already almost an hour long, so having to go through this long explanation, I just figured it would be more sensible to just show how this is a logically fallacious argument. So yeah, this argument is still logically fallacious, and it doesn't make any practical, coherent, logical sense. If you're going to say palm oil production isn't vegan, then that's the same with every other plant. And if that's the case, then why are you even vegan, Swayze? If you don't see a distinction between producing palm oil, producing corn, and raping and murdering cows, then why the fuck are you even vegan? Why the fuck do you even bother? So, you're fucking lying.
It's essentially an extension of his argument about intent, that intention matters and not consequences.
Again, this...
Okay, so she just strawmanned. She just strawmanned me again. I never said consequences don't matter. I said intent is an aspect of morality. And again, if you actually look at palm oil production versus dairy production is far more cruel than the palm oil industry. It just is. If you're going to claim the palm oil industry is more cruel than dairy, then that would mean the corn industry is more cruel than dairy. And at that point, why the fuck would you even call yourself vegan? Like, according to you, if growing plants on an area of land is more cruel than raping and murdering animals, then why don't you just eat a carnivore diet? Like, this just makes no sense at all, top to bottom.
This does end up becoming an appeal to futility fallacy, because you're saying, oh, well, everything I do, every economic transaction I make is going to support cruelty. Well, the thing you're missing here is intent. Not every economic transaction you make is intended to support suffering and death, and there are clearly economic transactions that you can make that are more ethical.
So that's not an appeal to futility. Appeal to futility is essentially somebody saying that if you can't be perfect, why bother? Why bother?
Yeah, that's exactly what Kal-El just said. That's literally what she just said in her video. So what do you mean that's not an appeal to futility? She, at the very fucking beginning, said, you cannot be a perfect vegan, it's impossible, so we should have an acceptable tolerance range for cruelty. That is an appeal to futility. She's arguing that eating non-vegan candy bars, popcorn, and buying leather shoes is vegan. Like, you really don't see this as an appeal to futility. Fucking give me a break.
bother doing anything at all. I think many of us, if you're vegan, vegetarian, if you've just ever tried to do something good, you've probably heard that before. I feel like somebody recently I responded to who was vegan and then decided not to be. I feel like that was their big argument, that like, well, there's lots of suffering and I can't stop it, so fuck it. But again, what we're talking about here is not appeal to futility. Questioning
Yes, it is. It is an appeal to futility.
the difference in harm between something like dairy and palm oil.
There's very clearly more harm that goes on in the dairy industry than in the palm oil industry. I recommend you guys go and watch Abbas Lucille's video on unnatural vegan and palm oil. He did misrepresent my position here. He thought that I actually think palm oil production... he thought I had the same idea on palm oil production as Swayze. I'd recommend you go watch his video, but to quote him, where would you rather have a picnic? Would you rather go here to have a picnic in a palm oil field, where, you know, just like in a cornfield, they just clear out an area of land, grow these trees, and harvest them? Or would you rather go here to have a picnic, where cows are literally raped and murdered, and their babies are taken away from them, and they're tortured and murdered? Does this seem like a better place to have a picnic than here? You think more harm goes on in this fucking industry than in this industry? Seriously. Am I the one who's crazy here? Like, it's just when you have to fight everyone on topics like these, when you get so much fucking pushback from people like this, it feels like I'm the one who's fucking crazy sometimes. Really? This is less ethical than this.
Is about consistency. Being consistent when distinguishing between actions that cause a small amount of harm and are therefore permissible, and actions that cause a great deal of harm and should be avoided.
So this should be avoided, but this shouldn't be avoided. Oh, okay, Swayze.
I don't know which is more harmful, palm oil or dairy.
I don't know which is more harmful, palm oil or dairy. Oh, what did you... Oh my god! This is why I held back on watching this video. It gets me so frustrated and irritated just watching this disgusting fucking underbite fucking bitch. Okay.
It's an empirical question. You'd have to do like a comparative study on it.
Comparative study. We need research to determine which is more harmful, this or this. Where's the study? We need a study demonstrating which is more harmful. There needs to be an investigation done.
Guess that dairy is more harmful, but it could go the other way. That wouldn't surprise me. The point is that, number one, palm oil is incredibly harmful, and
No, it's not. How is it more harmful than corn production? How? In the production of every single fucking plant, you are competing with the natural native wildlife. What is the difference between palm oil production and apple production? Like, do you see a difference here? Like, look, this is a row of apple trees. This is a row of palm trees. Do you know how much you have to do to get rid of insects, birds, squirrels, deer, rabbits? Get them the fuck away from these apples so that you can eat these apples? You think what happens here is different than on a palm oil plantation. So according to you, apples are no longer vegan because you have to kill and displace natural native wildlife just like how you have to do in a palm oil plantation. You are so insanely, irretrievably fucking retarded. I hope you and your child get run over by a fucking bus. People like you shouldn't breed. You're an oxygen thief.
Number two, if it is more harmful than dairy, then it doesn't necessarily make sense to be critical of people who are consuming dairy when you're still consuming palm oil.
What? I'm consuming palm oil, therefore I can't criticize this. Are you fucking serious? Holy shit. Okay, I'm done with this. I'm going to respond to it later. I cannot handle listening to this bullshit for another fucking moment. I'm literally going to fucking lose it. So, let's just finish off the stream by finding that stupid girl's comment in my video. Somebody said she left a big long response with timestamps. Was it in my pinned comment, or is it just somewhere in the list? Let's just go down here, see if she made any more replies. Okay, it doesn't look like she made any more replies down here, so let's just try to find her comment. Oh, right. I think she responded to this guy somewhere? No, maybe not that particular comment. I'm just trying to find it. If anybody can tell me where she actually, wrote this comment, it would be helpful. We'll just scroll through the list here, because if she wrote a big long comment with timestamps, I'd definitely respond to it. Like, in an actual video form. Misfit and Nerdy is so retarded. Let's actually go to her Instagram right now. So Marissa Chela, that's her name, I guess. If you look at her Instagram profile, it says she's an MIT graduate. Now, she mentioned that in the comment section of my video as well. Now, MIT is a university. Now, it's known for engineering and mathematics. A lot of people who, like, it's a really well-known university for engineering and mathematics. But you can take women's studies at MIT. So it's, yeah, so here, women's and gender study. It's an MIT program. So if you graduate from gender and women's studies at MIT, you could call yourself an MIT graduate. So notice how she never mentions what degree she got at MIT. Why not? She says she's an ACE certified personal trainer. Well, why did you say ACE certified? Why didn't you just say certified personal trainer or personal trainer? Why would you go to the trouble of saying what accomplishment you made from, like, what degree or whatever, or what certification you got from a certain company here, but you won't actually mention the degree you got at MIT. You just said MIT grad. Well, that could be women's studies, and judging by how stupid she is, I'm guessing it was women's studies. So you're, like, MIT grad, that's not impressive. You could have gotten any retarded degree from there. And I'm assuming it's a worthless, stupid degree that people would laugh at you for, because you're not actually mentioning what degree you got. You'll mention this, ACE certified personal trainer. You'll mention the specific certification you got there, but you won't mention the degree you got at MIT. So you're a fucking moron. Let's just keep scrolling through and see if we can find her dumbass comment. She might have deleted it by now. Also, update us on the mice. 2 of the mice are dead. They both had heart attacks. Mice are extremely prone to congestive heart failure. So 2 of them are dead. Crumpet is the last living mouse. We're not sure how long she's going to live, but we're just going to watch her really carefully, make sure she doesn't gain weight suddenly, because that seems to really trigger it before the other mice died. What was it? Pumpernickel, she was the fattest one. She died first, and then after she died, Crouton gained weight. She seemed a bit underweight at first, but she gained weight pretty quickly, and she was normal weight, but then she died. So we're gonna make sure that Crumpet doesn't gain weight quickly. But that's the life of mice. They only live for like 2 years. If you're really fucking lucky, maybe 3 years, but it's generally 1 to 2 years. They do not live long at all. I can't find her comment in my comment section. So, if anybody could, like, especially if you're on Discord, if you could find her comment where she tries to criticize me in detail and leave timestamps, if you could send me a screenshot of that, it would be greatly appreciated. I don't think I'm going to be able to find her comment here. Usually hers are near the top, so I don't think I'm going to find it near the bottom here. Yeah, let me just move to the top again and see if I can find it. So I'll just read off some of this retarded shit she fucking said to me before. Let me zoom in here. Oh yeah, I decided to try both diets for a week, and she's talking about a particular type of vegan diet, and the carnivore diet will not be following either for any extended period of time. Well, like, what is this bullshit about trying a diet for a week? Like, if you can actually look at the research and determine whether or not it's healthy, why would you even try it? Like, the carnivore diet, obviously not fucking healthy for you. Why would you not want to consume more vitamin C, which is an antioxidant? It protects against inflammation, particularly in the brain. Like, what's the benefit of that? Here's another thing. She makes recommendations on her channel based on advertising she's able to get. So here, she promoted some supplement company and a particular weird fasting regiment it has. And it's all an ad. She even admits it down here that it's an ad for a supplement. So the information she's giving isn't even her own genuine opinion. She's just trying to make money off of her followers. A really terrible person. Now, I don't see it as a problem trying to make money off of supplements, because I've done that. The thing is, though, I actually believe in what I'm saying. I got a deal with a supplement company, like that, what was it, Vital House? Where I actually thought they had a good product. Her, on the other hand, she just finds random shit that, you know, she can promote to her fucking audience that, you know, that she thinks she can make money off of. Because my entire point with making that series of carnivore and vegan was to say that there's no ideal diet for all humans. That's just absolutely insane. There's no single diet that all humans can optimally live on. Okay? So because there are weird, exceptional people with odd diseases or intolerances, that means most people shouldn't be on a vegan diet. That's just absurd. There's also not one single vegan diet. And look, is your audience an audience of people who have like weird problems like celiac disease, malabsorption, inflammatory bowel syndromes, where if they eat the majority of plant foods, they get severe allergic reactions from? No. So why are you trying to convince your audience that the carnivore diet is suitable for the vast majority of people? Like, you even said that in your video, that you think the carnivore diet is suitable for large populations of people, even though it's been proven to increase risk of ischemic heart disease and shorten life expectancy. So you're full of shit here. Let's see. From here, I will be launching into a series of elimination diets to figure out what I am intolerant to. If it turns out that I am intolerant to all meat and animal products, I will happily give them up. So what do you fucking mean by intolerance? If something gives you heart disease and cancer, wouldn't you consider that an intolerance? So this woman is a dumb bitch. I don't think she bothered responding to another one of my comments because I kind of wrecked her here. I brought up that same point, and then I think she just stopped responding. Yeah, I don't think she said anything else. And then everyone just ganged up on her, called her a fucking moron. Okay, I can't find any of her comments on here. Like, any other comments. But, yeah, she's just irretrievably stupid. I am going to make a response to her in the next, couple of days. And, yeah, then, what, there's Jeff Nippard. That's going to come up soon as well. So, fun fact, niqab and burqa have become illegal in Denmark. Thoughts on this? Good. Good riddance. The thing is, Muslims are fucking invading Europe. It literally is an invasion. There's so many of these European countries, especially like Sweden and Germany, who are just letting swarms of them in, and it's good that there are some countries that have recognized that many of these Muslim immigrants are horrible, nasty, violent, intolerant people, and they're standing up against their bigotry and hatred. Good. Ban the niqab, ban the burqa, make it so these people don't travel to these fucking countries and spread their religion of hatred and misogyny and violence and slavery and every other bad thing that goes along with Islam. Yeah, I think it's a good thing that Denmark is banning that. Denmark has a kind of a long history with this too. Like, wasn't Anne Hersey Ali, wasn't she in Denmark and targeted for assassination? So it seems like the people in politics there, they've actually personally had experience with assassination attempts from Muslim migrants, and that might be why they're so anti-Islam. But I'm in support of that. Alright, so I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. Sorry for flipping out. I just really have a hard time listening to this irritating horseshit. Just some stupid, dumb bitch woman straw-manning me, misrepresenting my position, and coming up with a completely incoherent fucking argument against me. And she doesn't have more dislikes than likes. That is just absurd, and she's also in support of deplatforming. Here in her thing here, she said, oh, videos like this should get taken off the internet. Well, you know what? Maybe we should all help to get this video taken off the internet. See how she likes it. So, thanks for checking out the stream, guys. Again, really appreciate all of you who support me on Patreon. Helps me out massively. Can't say that enough. And yeah, basically today I'm going to get to work on the response to Unnatural Vegan. Tomorrow I'm probably going to do part 2 of the Carnivore Diet Debunked, the response to Misfit and Nerdy. And then the day after that, it's either going to be a smaller video just so I can have a bit of a break, or it's going to be a response to Jeff Nippard. But that's basically what's going to go on this week. And I'm also hoping this week I can get the worst of the fitness industry out, or at least do the script. And I'm going to have it an early access for patrons and whoever, all the people who donated to the Finn GoFundMe campaign. So yeah, Finn, and I think this is good timing, Finn gets his cast off tomorrow, I believe. So yeah, his cast is going to be off. The bone in his leg should be mostly healed, like about 70%, which is enough to get the cast off. And just from there, he has to put weight on it to encourage bone growth. And he's not in any pain or anything either, so I think all the possible complications that could have arisen from that surgery are kind of gone. So I think it's a good time to just, you know, as a thanks to everybody who helped pay for the operation, to just give an early access for Worst of the Fitness Industry. Yes, the Worst of the Fitness Industry is going to be about the What I've Learned guy. And that video will be in early access. I'm thinking a week, maybe 2 weeks, but I'm thinking a week, just because with things like this, I think people are going to end up sharing the video and maybe re-uploading it, and if that sort of thing happens, there's not really any point of, keeping it unlisted, so I think it'll be in early access for about a week. I'd like 2 weeks, but, we'll see. So thanks again, guys, and I'm just going to get to work, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I'm going to wait a little bit just so the stream doesn't cut off. Just give it a second here. And I think we're good.